Hello, everyone, and welcome to 0 to 0, a pointless football podcast for fans and non-fans alike. Where we pit someone who knows some football, that would be me, Fixxxer, against someone who knows absolutely nothing about football, that would be he, Tulkas. What's up, Tulkas?
Rejoice! So Fixxxer and I have a plan where we all get the Strangelanders to move to Svalbard since it's visa-free travel, and we make the new northernmost town in the world, and we make YouTube videos documenting how you make the northernmost town in the world, and we go viral, and it's epic and community spirit.
Moving on! We have our records from last week. They're not terribly pretty. Mine's alright, but yours is, well, it's bad even for Tulkas standards.
What? No!
I was 9-5, and you were 6-8. That was your well, yeah, it was your worst week thus far.
But if Diesel hadn't been a loser, I would be 7-7.
Wow, poor Diesel.
Serve them right.
All right, well, let's get started with this week. What's our first game on the docket here? Oh, let's go with buys. The buys this week would be Atlanta, Dallas, LA Chargers, and the Tennessee Titans. And our first game is Thursday night. That would be tonight, since I'm probably getting this video up on Thursday. Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. So the Texans protected Watson pretty decently for a change, and it was against what should be a good defense in the Jaguars. They quietly have themselves a little winning streak going. Osweiler had a good day for the Dolphins, but it wasn't enough to beat the Lions last week. They lost wide receiver Albert Wilson for a few weeks to injury, and they're surely going to miss him. Miami will focus on the Texas running game, I think, and Texans running game, and they're going to force Watson to beat him. I think he can. If J.J. Watt can terrify Brock Osweiler, then I think the Texans will win. I'm going with Houston.
Okay, how deep is the channel between Galveston Island and the Boulevard Peninsula?
Deep enough that pretty big boats go through it.
Okay, so I
Wait,
have an
how do
idea.
you know about Bolivar?
Because I looked up Houston to see how the Dolphins would likely attack. How they would.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they could definitely go through there. I mean, they have a ferry that takes cars from Galveston to Bolivar.
Okay.
And major ships go through there. So yeah, the ship the Houston port, which is one of the biggest ports in the world, is beyond that channel. So all those massive freighters, they go through there.
Okay, so that complicates things. I had a theory that the Texans could fortify Galveston and Bolivar and prevent the Dolphins from going through. However, it's still possible, man, because what we do is we get ships. We get like the Texan ships. We sail them out into the channel, and we get like torpedoes on them, and then they torpedo the Dolphins or something.
So there's a problem here.
What?
So not only does Houston have that ship channel, there's also bayous that go from that all the way into Houston, like deep into Houston. So the Dolphins could technically use those bayous as a sort of a flanking route. That's bad.
A flanking. I don't. What's a bayou? I don't. You. What?
A bayou is basically like it's usually a man-made river, but they're not always man-made. A bayou is for water drainage. A water drains into the bayou, and it takes it out to sea.
Okay. Well, that's something. You just stole my thunder. Man, I was all hyped about the Svalbard thing, and you just ruined my mood. You brought me down, Fixxxer. You brought me down. Well, but I mean, they can flank, but I mean, Texas is still desert, so they can't go on land or they'll just die in the desert, right? Yeah, desert. Texas is all desert, right? It's like
there's like no desert in Texas.
No,
not only that, Houston is built on a swamp.
Texas is like an arid wasteland. Everyone knows that.
Uh-huh.
It's like sand dunes and like lost desert kingdoms and Bedouins. Don't you know about the Bedouins?
There are no Bedouins in America.
There are all the Bedouins in America. It's Bedouin City.
Wrong continent.
Fine. Well, I was really convinced that the Texans would win. but the Dolphins, I don't know, Fixxxer might just be trying to pull a fast one on me. I mean, he said the Dolphins would win here, so maybe he just doesn't want me. Maybe he just inserted in his pick. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a Diesel choose this one. We'll see. For right now, we'll go with a provisional pick of. I don't know. I don't know Fixxxer TV. I mean, you can still have the. I mean, if they're still able to stop them at the channel, then they don't have to worry about the bias. Like, that's the thing. If they can get past the channel, then they can infiltrate the heart of Texas.
Now,
but I mean,
if they were the Dutch, they possibly could, but there's not many Dutch people living in Houston.
What? If the Dolphins were Dutch?
No, if the Texans were Dutch.
Oh, right, because of the whole levy thing, right? I get your little reference. I get. Oh, you told a little joke, Fixxxer TV. I'm so proud of you.
It's no joke. The Dutch have figured it out. They know how to control water. They've done it. The Texans are a little behind on that.
The little waterbender, the little waterbending Dutch. Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, Texan, they're all about guns and stuff. Like Texas, they're all about like having guns in the desert so they can protect from the desert wildlife. I don't know. What sort of predators do you have in the desert? Maybe they can protect themselves from rogue cacti. I don't know. But yeah. So I mean, they have guns. They have like torpedo ships, gunboats sitting in the Galveston Bolivar Strait. And they go pew pew in the water. They have like depth charges, maybe a few miles. I don't know. I think it'll be pretty difficult for the Dolphins to get through, at least in enough numbers to really be able to harass the Houston mainland. I still don't believe your whole swamp thing, because swamps have malaria, and the Texans would have died from malaria. So yeah, I'm going to give this to the Dolphins. Hashtag resist Fixxxer TV, but I might have Diesel come back on this one. We'll see.
Great. On to our second game: the Washington Redskins at the New York Giants. Eli Manning put up okay numbers, I guess, but it's feeling like it's still not enough. Their ground game was shut down, and the Falcons challenged them to beat them in the air, and they couldn't. Earlier this week, they traded Eli Apple and Damon Harrison from their defense. I don't think anyone's going to miss Apple, but Harrison was playing pretty well. The Redskins are quietly putting together a decent season, beating the Cowboys last week. Wasn't exactly a great offensive showing, but their defense kept them in it. I'm not sure they'll be able to stop Barkley, so count on him having a good day, but overall, I just can't see the Giants beating them. Redskins win.
So who did the Falcons challenge to beat them in the air?
The Giants.
Okay, so that doesn't mean that the Giants can fly. They're just like the Falcons are in the air, and the Giants are also in the air since they're so tall. So they're like, ooh, instead of the Falcons trying to swoop in, they're trying to dive bomb them, and the Giants are trying to wave their clubs over their head. I don't know. I don't really get your whole air thing. It's confusing to me. I don't even know how giant are the Giants. I mean, they're smaller than the Titans, presumably, but I mean, I don't know. Are they like Game of Thrones Giants, or are they like BFG Giants or Narnia Giants?
They're not. No, they're not Narnia Giants. That's for sure. Did we not cover this in a previous featured game?
I know we.
Was that we did? Previous... I know we did.
Oh, what week was it?
I'm looking right now. It's not one. Okay. It's
week
number 2.
Okay, week 2. We had a whole. Okay, so what is this? The Giants were. I mean, it doesn't cover how tall they are. It just says that there was a baseball team. Where did we talk about how tall they were?
I guess we I think we did over Mike, but it's not written down. So
okay. Well,
so you're allowed to retcon whatever this is.
I'm not retconning, man. I'm about consistency, man. Capitalite theology. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna say. When I was thinking about it, I just wanted to give it to the Redskins. I don't really know why I want to give it to the Redskins, but I do want to give it to the Redskins. This might be one Diesel wants to retcon. I don't know, but we're just giving it to the Redskins. Hashtag Rebel.
Ooh. Maybe it's a little white guilt that is getting you to do that.
I love white guilt, but you know what I love more? The white man's burden. Get it. Oh dear. Edit that out right now. Oh, why did I say? Okay. I'm going to go into the other room and bang my head on the wall in shame.
I think he might actually be doing that. All right. Next up, The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals struggled to put up points against Kansas City. Dalton had his worst showing of the year, and they couldn't get mixing going. Their defense got roughed up pretty hard, but I suppose that's going to be expected playing against the Chiefs. The Bucs, they beat the Browns in overtime. Winston had 365 yards, but no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Also, he was their leading rusher with 55 yards. They suffered some injuries on defense, and they'll be forced to start some rookies this week. The Chiefs gave everyone a blueprint to how to beat the Bengals defense, but will the Bucs be able to execute that? They might, to a degree. I think Winston will probably have a much better game than he did last week, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Tulkas.
Did you hear me banging my head?
Yeah. I called 911. They'll be there shortly.
I think the Bengals will win.
Bengals. Definitely Bengals?
Yeah. Bengals win. My head hurts.
Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The poor Browns lost another game in overtime, one that they probably should have won. That's 4 so far this year. The record in one season is 5. Mayfield had a more efficient outing than he normally has. They're playing pretty well, and they just need to get over that hump. They traded away Hyde to the Jaguars so that rookie Nick Chubb can get more carries. I think he'll do pretty well. The Steelers are coming off a bye after beating the Bengals. Look for them to shut down Chubb and force Mayfield to beat him. Antonio Brown and Schuster should have a good game. Sorry, Browns. Not going to happen this time. Steelers will win.
Okay, so the Browns will use corrosive soil. Okay, because soil is brown, and they will eat away at the Steelers until they rust and turn brown themselves, and then they will be mind controlled and arise as undead zombies to finish my train of thought for me.
To overcome the Steelers and take over Pittsburgh.
Giddy up.
Actually, this is in Pittsburgh. There you go. Moving on, Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Lions look good in their win versus the Texans. Stafford was super efficient and didn't make any mistakes. Kerryon Johnson had 158 yards on the ground. Told you they needed to figure out how to get him the rock. They did, and they're doing well. Now that they have an actual run game, look for the offense to excel for the rest of the season, I think. Seattle, they're coming off a bye week after beating the Dolphins. Wilson will have his hands full. Seattle's secondary is playing well despite losing Thomas for the season, so Stafford might have a hard time this week. Should be a good game. If the Lions can get Johnson the ball, I think they'll win. I think they do, and I'm going with Detroit.
Okay, so last week, this is key. Last week, week number 7, I had a whole thing about a random dude in Quora.com. I had a whole thing about how like a big cat versus an eagle would use like shredding sharp claws to flip over and rake its back leg through the chest of the eagle or snap its wings in any number of ways. That's a quote. So, and true to form, the Panthers beat the Eagles by doing that. Now, the question is, are the Seahawks fast enough to evade the Lions' talons and go like dive bomby and swoopy? And I don't know. What do you think, Fixxxer TV?
No, I don't think so.
You don't? Why not?
Because why do you think all these? Wait, is an osprey a bird of prey? Is it considered a bird of prey?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. Is it?
I don't know what an osprey is.
It's a seahawk.
Really?
Seahawks are ospreys. Yeah.
I thought an osprey was like a heron.
It's a seahawk, but I don't think it's an actual hawk.
Oh.
Or is it? It is. It is an actual hawk. It is a bird of prey. I mean, it does have prey in the word, but I thought that was always just, it's English. It doesn't always mean anything.
Because when the boys can't save the day, no one does it better than the birds of prey.
But you seem to lump all the birds of prey in together as if they were all the same thing.
Well, they're pretty similar. I mean, they have similar attack patterns, similar weaknesses. I mean, it's not like the big cats, like I had a few weeks ago in my Hearthstone rank, like they're like the same deck that's been tailored to beat different matchups. Because Hearthstone is the best card game in the world, and don't let all the rest tell you different.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
so
ospreys are definitely hawks. I'm looking at it. They're big too.
okay, this is another one. Diesel. Oh dear, Diesel might want to do. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna give it to the Lions.
Fish
I'll
make
just
up
give it to the Lions.
99% of the osprey's diet.
Well, I knew that. I thought they were like, I don't know, herons like swooping. I
No,
don't
no,
know
no,
how
no.
birds
Definitely
work.
not like herons. They look like a legit hawk.
Look, they don't live in Indiana, and if it doesn't happen outside Indiana, then it doesn't matter unless it's Svalbard, because I love Svalbard now.
So who are you going with?
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
Speaking of Bears, next up is the New York Jets at the Chicago Bears. Sam Darnold was just 17 of 42 with 3 interceptions last week versus the Vikings and a couple of fumbles. You can't blame the kid too much. He played a tough defense. He may be having efficiency problems, but that's the case for most rookie quarterbacks. The Bears lost to the Pats 38-31 last week in one of the better games. Trubisky is still putting up okay numbers, and he is proving to be a pretty good scrambler as he had 81 yards rushing and a touchdown. More so than Jordan Howard. He's getting more yards than one of the better backs in the league. That's nice and all, but Howard is too good. You can't have your quarterback having more yards than Howard. Twice as many yards even. I think they'll bounce back this week. They'll harass Darnold and force him to make mistakes. This will be closer than people think, but the Bears will win.
When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. You're never alone. You're never disconnected. Your home is your own. Your company is expected. You're well protected. Isn't that fun? I like that song. Anyway, I think the Bears are too lumbering to invade Jets win.
Is this West Side Story week? Wait,
Yeah.
You think the Bears what?
They are too lumbering to evade. Get it? Lumbering like wood, because wood cannot dodge a jet.
Obviously.
Lumbering.
All right.
Fixxxer, say lumbering.
Lumbering.
But say it fancy, like lumbering.
Who says lumbering fancy?
I do. Say it sensually. Say it like you're trying to seduce me with the word, like lumbering. Because remember last week we're romantic rivals now, so you need to say lumbering.
I don't think you understand what rivals mean. I'm not trying to seduce you. I'm trying to seduce someone else before you do.
No. We're trying to seduce each other and see who seduces the other harder, and that person wins.
I don't think that's what rivals means.
Well, I think it is. Say lumbering. Okay, fine. Say lumbering as if you're trying to seduce someone else, and I'm also wanting to seduce.
In what context would lumbering be used to seduce somebody?
Okay, well, like, I lumber. You may run away from me, but I will lumber after you with a rose in my hand.
Lumbering, not lumber. Lumbering.
Okay. I will be.
Also, there's a reason why she's probably running from you if you're lumbering after her.
Well, if I'm lumbering, then I can't catch her. So it isn't like a stalker thing. It's more of like, a sedate. Okay, so like maybe when I am lumbering, it is like I am yearning for. Okay, my lumbering words soothe your soul. Try that.
It sounds about as easy as finding a rhyme for orange.
Okay, just say the word, Fixxxer.
I am lumbering for your door hinge.
Okay, I think I win. I win. Woo! Okay.
The Denver Broncos are facing the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Pat Mahomes continues to put up good numbers with it. 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And their defense came together to shut down a pretty good Bengals offense. I bet the Broncos feel good after last week's pummeling of the Cardinals. It wasn't so much that their offense trampled them. Their defense returned 2 pick sixes. Unfortunately, they play the Chiefs this week, and it's in Kansas City, one of the hardest parks to play in. No trap game here. Chiefs will win. How about you?
First of all, obligatory note, Chiefs. Second of all, why is Kansas City a hard park?
Kansas City is notoriously a hard park to play in because their fans are loud.
Ooh.
So for, I don't know, at least good 20 years, 30 years, they're usually in one of the hardest places to play. And the reason why that's difficult is when you're on offense and the crowd is really loud, the players on your team cannot hear you call plays or call audibles or anything like that. And it can be very difficult for them to plan things. So that's what makes it hard.
That sounds like fun. There's a lot of improvisation. I like improvisation. Like when I'm okay, whatever.
Peyton Manning was good at improvisation.
Ooh, hashtag Peyton Manning. He's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. Giddy up! I think I've seen him in a commercial about Nationwide. Like he and another dude are like in a band.
Yes.
Singing about Nationwide.
It's a country music singer. I don't remember the dude's name.
It's like
they're so bad though. They're bad.
No, it's like my hero, Peyton Manning, my boy. Anyway, so I've been foolish in the past. For 7 weeks now, I have thought that Bronco was a dude riding a bull, but I just looked it up, and it turns out that it's an untamed horse instead. So you can mock me all you want. It was a simple mistake. I may have touched the beak of Polly the platypus, but I am still only a human. If I was perfect, then that would mean that Neil was not the only perfect being in the universe, which would undermine reality as we know it. So there, but the Chiefs will win still.
Lovely. All right. Sticking with Sunday early games, Baltimore Ravens are at the Carolina Panthers. In one of the better games this week, the Ravens lost by 1 point to the Saints while choking. I'm sorry, better games of last week. Did I say this week? The Ravens lost by 1 point to the Saints while choking in the fourth. Their defense was able to slow down Breeze a tiny bit. Should have been enough, but their offense just couldn't do it. Flacco played okay, but the Saints shut down their running game. Over with the Panthers, they beat the Eagles in a huge comeback. They were down 17-0 and scored 21 points in the fourth to win it. That's pretty damn impressive. Cam Newton had a good game, no turnovers. Their running issues continue, however. Not only was Cam their top rusher, their second top rusher was wide receiver Jarius Wright. I know I got a typo in there. You don't need to mention it. Panthers are playing good football, but McCaffrey's got to carry the load. If any QB can make up for a poor running back play for an entire season, I guess it's Cam. But you got to have your running back carry the load, and he's just not doing it. So this is going to be in one of the better games this week, and I'm not sure who I'm going to go with. I think the Panthers will focus the run and shut it down, forcing Flacco to beat him in the air. I don't think it will be enough. Their defense will pull out a win. Panthers win.
If the Panthers can maul the Eagles, then they can deaf maul Ravens.
Deaf?
Deaf.
All right, so you're going with Carolina. All right, next up, Sunday afternoon games. The Indianapolis Colts at the Oakland Raiders.
Boo!
So the Raiders traded away Amari Cooper to the Cowboys. Initial reaction was despair from the Raiders fans and laughs from everybody else. And then we learned that the Cowboys gave up a first-round pick for him. That's bad. Amari Cooper isn't bad himself, but he sure as hell not lived up to the potential, and he damn sure isn't worth a number one pick.
Damn sure as hell ain't worth a number one pick.
Damn sure. That is a crazy overpay. Keep in mind that Josh Gordon cost a fifth and Brandon Cooks cost a first. Amari Cooper should probably be closer to maybe a 3 at this point, I'd say. Some people were saying a fourth. Anyways, good value by the Raiders, who now have 5 number one picks over the next 2 years. Moving over to the Colts, Andrew Luck didn't need to throw for too many yards to get his 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He was efficient and didn't turn the ball over, which is exactly what they need him to do. Their defense caused 5 turnovers. That's 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Darius Leonard is having such a great season, leading the Colts to totally shut down the Bills and hold them to just 5 points. Colts, well, technically 3 points, since the 2 points you can't pin on the defense. The Colts should destroy the Raiders at this rate. Colts win.
I abandoned last week my Hoosiers. Well, Fixxxer believed in them, and they won the shame.
It's very shameful. Very shameful.
The Colts should be able to run away and live off the line, while the Raiders, not having brought enough supplies for a long time, will waste away in their attempts at pursuit. Colts win.
So you're returning to the homeland.
Giddy up.
All right, next up, the San Francisco 49ers are at the Arizona Cardinals. The 49ers took a beating from the Rams. Beathard had a rough day while his offensive line got manhandled. Kittle has turned into a legit target for him, though. Remember when I said to look for a coaching change on the offense for the Cardinals, Tulkas? Remember that last week?
No.
Well, they did exactly that. They fired their offensive coordinator this week after another abysmal showing. I don't know if or when to see improvements, but they've got the talent there to turn it around. Byron Leftwich was promoted to the coordinator. That's the first time he's ever been one, so we don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, Rosen had under 200 yards, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. David Johnson, he struggled again. The only way for this team to go is up at this point. And the 49ers are a good team to face if you need to bounce back. Everyone will be picking the Niners here, but I'm going with the Cards to bounce back with the help of their defense. Also, Pat Pete will likely be traded by the end of the month.
Hang on. I realized I forgot to do. Okay, here. So on week 5 we had this same battle. I said we Hoosiers are possessed of great moral righteousness, and so our state bird cannot help but triumph over the greed and licentiousness of their western foes, while their long sojourn from the fatherland has indubitably wreaked havoc on their morale. This chance to channel the temperance of the true home must surely carry them to victory, and so they were indeed carried to victory. So I guess
so here's the difference, though.
Again.
That battle was fought in San Francisco. This one is not only fought in Arizona, but the Cardinals should be stronger offensively this time around.
Okay, so they will win harder?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you think?
I mean, the Cardinals are Hoosier. It's a state bird. So I mean, Arizona isn't their home, but it is desert. I mean, I can't really see a Cardinal living in Arizona long term, but I guess they'll win. I don't know. It's weird to me.
Okay, you're enthusiastic for the Cardinals. Got it.
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams were without Kupp, but their offense was efficient and put up 39 points on less than 350 yards. Their defense was just as good with 7 sacks, a couple of fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. The Packers, they're coming off a bye week after their win versus the 49ers. That probably should not have been a win. Their receiving core is a little banged up, but I'm not sure it'll matter versus a team like the Rams. Gurley should shred them. Rams will win.
Why is corpse pronounced like core?
Because it's French.
Ooh, I want to be French. Fixxxer, can I be French for a day?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it. Tomorrow, I will be French, okay?
Why not today?
Because, today is already, most of the way over. I don't want to be French for, 10 hours.
All right, well, what's your pick?
The Rams can fly! They're herbivores! So woo!
So, can you slow down? Wait, what?
The Rams. We figured out a few weeks ago that the Rams have the ability to fly. I don't know how they can fly, but apparently they can fly. And they're herbivores, which means they are not dependent on the meat packers for meat to sustain themselves. So they can just ignore the whole meat thing and just be like...
Gotcha. All right. New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints came from behind to beat the Ravens. They proved that they don't need Breeze to put up 400 yards every game, as he only had 212 yards with 2 touchdowns. The Vikings dominated the Jets in a 37-17 win. They're suffering a lot of injuries, though. Hughes, Waynes, and Rhodes are all hurt. This would end most normal team seasons, but their secondary is deep, and they could hopefully recover from that. They get Everson Griffin back, too. Still haven't revealed why he was gone. A lot of people suspect he had some bipolar episode. It'll be nice to see him back. Look for the Saints to utilize their slot receiver in Kamara to attack the Vikings linebackers. And surely Breeze will attack the secondary as well, being that they are weakened. The Vikings need not to turn over the ball. They need to keep Cousins standing. And I think the win will probably be the best game of the week.
Okay, so my boy Olaf Haraldsson was a pagan who turned Christian, and he forced the Norwegians to convert before Denmark drove him back before he returned and died at Stiklestad. For more information, look in the video description for a happy full video of enlightenment. Fixxxer TV, will you put the video in the video description?
I can do that, sure.
Okay, so Odin ain't got no chance. Woo!
There you go. Wait, what? So you're going with New Orleans then?
Yeah.
All right, New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Patriots came out winners versus a good Bears team last week. Brady had 277 yards, 3 touchdowns, and one interception. Josh Gordon had 100 yards. I think look for Gordon to put up great numbers for the rest of the year. I think him and Brady have built a great rapport already. They'll be a lock for the rest of the season. Anyway, Buffalo. Oof. Derek Anderson started this week at QB and had 175 yards and 3 interceptions. McCoy had just 2 carries. I think he'll be traded by the end of the month, possibly to Philadelphia. I don't know what else to say. Their offense is terrible. Their defense was even worse and got no pressure on Luck. Allen's going to be out again this week, and the Patriots should eat this team alive. Patriots win.
Are you familiar with Yorick Burnison, Fixxxer TV?
No, I'm not.
You are ashamed. Anyway, so the Buffalo historically live in the Great Plains region, and the Patriots like they're never really went there. Like the Northwest Ordinance, I looked it up. Actually, I referenced it the last week, but I looked it up. The Northwest Ordinance forbade settlers from settling west of the Appalachians. So, say they didn't go there, and Lewis and Clark were some of the first people to go out that way. So the Patriots, they're just going there. So, and I mean, if they don't know, and if they don't have any idea where they're going, I mean, they can't have a good supply line, and they can't really live off the land if they don't know where to get food from, and they're just going there for reasons unknown. And
Buffalo's not west of the Appalachians.
Really?
I don't think it is. I think that Appalachians kind of end before it reaches Buffalo. But if you were to look on the map, I think they might be straight north or wait, let's look.
Buffalo living range. There you go. Living range of Buffalo. Okay. American bison.
Yeah. See, they're north of the eastern end of the Appalachians.
Really? But I mean, the question is, how prevalent were they in? Okay. You're gonna have to do some editing here because I'm on the hunt. Where
do the Appalachians here? Where do the Appalachians actually end?
Okay, I have this. Okay, this is something you can put in your video description. I'll post it in Discord. Okay.
Don't give me too much stuff to post. I don't have a lot.
Okay, well, you can do it. Okay, so yeah, the
Appalachians, it depends on what map you look at. Some of them have the Appalachians going up into Maine. Some of them have them ending in Pennsylvania.
Well,
and Buffalo would be just north of that.
So the map I sent you in Discord represents the original distribution of plains bison and wood bison in North America, which obviously,
holy cow, that's a lot larger than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that is a lot larger than I thought. So that just throws my whole theory out the window.
And look at that, it even goes over to Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, they're literally in New England. Okay, I guess in that case, Patriots win because it just turns into our classic Americans versus Indians show match, and Americans have smallpox, and Native Americans have no resistance to smallpox. So, yeah, that's sad.
Okay. All right, last up is our featured game. That was the Monday night game, by the way. Patriots at Bills was the Monday night game. Our featured game, however, is the Sunday morning game. Wait a minute. Is this another game in London? Did they have another game in London? Wait, where is this game at? That can't be the right time.
It should be in Indianapolis.
What? No, it's not.
But it should be.
Why in the hell should it be?
Because we have the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Hold on a second. NFL. I gotta find out where this game is at, because if it's 9:30 a.m., that seems like it would be in London. I thought the London games were over. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's in London. I did not know they still had London games. I thought that was the last one last week. It makes sense since it's the Jaguars, and Jaguars play once in London every year. All right. So this is our featured game where we go over the team names and their histories and how they came about with those names. I guess we'll start with the Eagles. The Eagles replaced the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets after the team went bankrupt midway through the 1931 season. The Eagles came in, I think, in 34. 34 was their first year. Their debt was a whopping $11K. The Yellow Jackets' debt was $11K when they went bankrupt. Imagine that in today's numbers. So anyways, the Eagles are named after the Blue Eagle insignia of the National Industrial Recovery Act, which was part of Roosevelt's New Deal.
Ooh, and that's like the Civilian Conservation Corps. Are you familiar with the Civilian Conservation Corps?
Nope, not exactly. Are they part of the
Okay, so the Civilian Conservation Corps, like during the Great Depression, Roosevelt was like, yo, I'm going to pay y'all $30 a month, and like 25 of those dollars will go to your families, and $5 will go to you if you will only like build stuff in parks and stuff, like build houses and trails and stuff. It was like a big employment thing, and they're called the Civilian Conservation Corps, or Triple C. It's like a bunch of stuff built by them, and every time I see something that was built by them, I'm like, Civilian Conservation Corps, woo-woo!
All right, so it was part of the New Deal. All right, next up, the Jaguars. They entered the league in 1995 as an expansion team. Other finalists were Charlotte, St. Louis, Baltimore, and Memphis. People were pretty shocked when Jacksonville was chosen over St. Louis and Baltimore. The name was chosen 4 years earlier through a naming contest. The runners-up were the Sharks and the Stingrays. So why did they choose the Jaguars? Well, the oldest living jaguar in North America lived in the Jacksonville Zoo and was considered a prized exhibit.
Good boy! Woo! And also I know a vampire bat named Charlotte that wants to eat me.
Exactly. There you go. All right, let's move on to the game. Those were nice and short because those teams never changed names, really. So that was pretty short. All right, the Jaguars, they lost to a Texans team that's somewhat hot. But still, they sacked Watson only once behind that terrible offensive line, and they had no interceptions. The defense seems to have lost its identity. Meanwhile, Bortles got benched for freaking Cody Kessler, who didn't play awfully, but didn't play good enough to win, or win him the starting job. Bortles starts again this week. They went out and acquired Carlos Hyde from the Browns to help their rushing issue. And that should help. He's a decent back. The defending Super Bowl champions, they continue to struggle and are 3-4 now. Wentz continues to play well, though. They just aren't putting enough points on the board, I guess. Sproles was out, and the running game only put up 58 yards. They also lost their defensive end, Bennett, for the season to a shoulder injury. LaShawn McCoy hasn't happened. The LaShawn McCoy trade hasn't happened yet. And will it even? I think it will. Probably by the end of the month. I think the 30th is the trade deadline, which is 1 week away. So look for McCoy possibly becoming Eagle again. I really don't know how this game will go. If we get the Eagles of the first 3 quarters from last week, I got no problem calling the win for them. But if we get the fourth quarter Eagles, then I see the Jags bouncing back. Flip the coin. I think I'll go with the Eagles.
Okay, so the Eagles loss last week proves that a random core dude was right. You doubted the core dude Fixxxer, but no,
it took a miracle for them to win, though. It took literally one of the best. Wait, no, the Eagles lost last week. I got my games mixed up.
Yeah,
continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Continue.
Eagles lose because they get mauled by the big cat. You see, trust whatever you read on the internet, because whatever you read on the internet is always right.
Including what we predict on this podcast.
Woo!
Which, by the way, our overall scores, I am 67-41, and Tulkas, you are 56-52.
Ooh. It's like a dragon break in Skyrim. Do you know about it?
A what?
A dragon break. So the idea that, in one of the earlier Skyrim games, the player had, like, at the end of the game, like, multiple options they could choose. Like, they could help the land or hurt the land. And, like, so, you know Fixxxer TV? So, like,
I never finished an Elder Scrolls game.
Okay. Well, I like to read, like, wikis and stuff. So Bethesda had to choose which one of these game endings to make canon for the future, and they decided to make all of them canon. So they introduced this concept called a dragon break. Like, during a dragon break, it's like a time when, like, everything happens and nothing happens, and, like, multiple sources say what happened, but they're all kind of right and they're all kind of wrong. And nothing really makes sense. So that's like it. So, like, when we predict different things, it's like a dragon break because we're always right and we're always wrong, and it's great. Okay, so bye everyone, and make sure to comment in the comments below if you want to move to Svalbard with me. This is my new initiative, because I really want to move to Svalbard with me, and I also need Neil to reinstitute the Tulkas movie video. That's different. So Diesel can do the Dolphins versus Texans match, because I'm still kind of confused in that one. And then if he doesn't do that in time, he can just do the Seahawks versus the Lions. Or he can even do that if he prefers to do that. I don't know. I don't really have preferences. But anyway, this has been Tulkas, and you have been youtube.com/FixxxerTV. And bye, everyone!
Bye.